Good morning and welcome to the Green Yard. My name is Skylar Hamilton and this is our not so green yard. You see it's the beginning of August and it's about 110 degrees out today, so things need a little bit more water here. Also, my wife and I just moved into this third of an acre property right in the heart of Phoenix, and so the point of this channel is really to bring you guys along with me as I go on and transform this yard from this barren, dry, partially landscaped yard into a beautiful, green, profitable, and livable landscape. So let me show you around. So we're in the backyard right now, and it is a little messy around here. Once again, we just moved in, so kind of bear with me here. But I do have some trees that I've already started planting over in this part of the yard over here. So you'll notice that I have some things in some grow banks here. We have some summer squash, some yellow squash here growing. In fact, I just picked a squash off yesterday. I believe there's one more growing back there as well. And then I do also have these watermelon kind of climbing everywhere, growing, and we do have a couple baby watermelons starting here as well. And then if you look over here, now this is an Asian pear tree, recently planted. Very excited about this one taking off, growing. Once again, it's doing pretty well, especially since it's been 110, 115 degrees the last few days. Looking good there. Now this is gonna kind of be the almost like a stone fruit orchard over here. So gonna do obviously we have the Asian pear, also thinking about doing a couple apples, and then of course this right here is the Bonanza peach. Once again, struggling a little bit this summer. It has a thick layer of wood chips around, and we'll go into that a little bit later too. So let's move on now to the next part of the yard here. Okay, now this is the pool part of the yard. So as you can see here, we have our pool. Once again, it's a little bit messy right now. We just moved in, but we have our pool here. And so the goal with the pool is to create a very dense dense foliage around the perimeter here. It already has a flower bed when we moved in. The pool did. It also had this tiki bar when we moved in as well. And then going along with that dense foliage for around the inside of the pool, we're also doing some along the outside of the pool, and that's really going to create a barrier for what's going to go back here. So right here we have a Jamaican cherry tree, also known as a strawberry tree. I've had it for almost a year, but it's only been in the ground for a few months. It was in some pots, things like that, so that's why it's struggling a little bit, but we do have some cherries on there, as you can see. So it's getting there. Also some beautiful blossoms, which do look like strawberry blossoms, and that's why it's called the strawberry tree there. And then over here we have a fig tree as well. I don't quite remember the variety of the fig, but you can see it does have a couple figs on it here. It already produced once in the spring, and now it's producing again. It's going to produce in the fall here, since it's almost August right now. So one of the parts of this yard that I'm very, very, very excited about is actually going to be this part here. So we have the old building that used to be here. We have all this mounded dirt. We have the pool right over here. You can see the pool there as well. And then we have this whole space here. And so this space is actually going to be a mini market garden is what I'm going to make it into. And so the goal with that is to potentially get a small CSA going, or sell at local farmers markets, maybe to local restaurants, things like that. So from when I measured it, we have just under 1,500 square feet here, so very small, but growing vertically and doing some other practices in terms of space saving growing, I think that I can make this into a profitable space, and definitely something that I'll take you along with as well when I go and work on this. Now, this fence line here, I'm also planning on planting, just like I am over here, kind of that green barrier with some fruit trees, different things like that, mangoes, maybe some more bananas. I have a couple bananas in the ground right now. So really, trying to make this barrier so that way, when you're in the pool, you get to see the green, you get to see the nice foliage, and then you don't see the farm over here. So definitely part of that plan here. Now, we also have, my wife and I also have a son. He's going to be 2 in December, so he's, getting to that age where he likes to spend a lot of time outside. So with using and planting, making it a green yard, also that livable aspect, it comes into play with the where he can play, what he can do, not making it just a food forest, where everything is just plants everywhere, mulch, heavily mulched. I would love to do that, but in terms of having a family, in terms of using the backyard, unfortunately that doesn't really work. Also with that profitability aspect that I mentioned earlier, I want to make sure that if we do ever sell this house, the landscaping, what's been done, appeals to whoever buys it. And even though I think a food forest is beautiful, I know a lot of people do not. And so playing into that landscaping, yes, making it edible, making it filled with flowers, beneficial, plants for different pollinating insects, but at the same time making it beautiful, making it well landscaped, so that if we did ever sell it, the next person who bought it would fall in love with this yard as well, even if they aren't into permaculture, food forests, things like that. So we have this space over here. This was from the previous owners. They concreted this whole space. Probably going to make this into a basketball court, something like that, something for him to play on. Also planning on moving all of this dirt over to that market garden that we talked about earlier, and making all the rows out of this dirt here. Now, in terms of like swing sets, things like that, only time will tell where those end up going, but do have a couple different options here. Now, as we walk away from the market garden and we come over into kind of the stone fruit orchard that I mentioned earlier, with the vegetables that are growing in those grow bags, we do have this Italian lemon tree, which is here from the previous owners, been in the ground for quite a while. It does have these very large, beautiful lemons on it. Probably going to trim this back, probably make a video on trimming back this citrus tree, how I'm going to make it look, because right now it has kind of taken over this space, and I want to be able to use this space for planting other items. Very messy back here. I apologize. Once again, we are moving in, still figuring everything out. We do have these 2 beautiful sheds over here. I'm not quite sure what we're going to use them for at this time, but we do have these 2 beautiful sheds. So now we're kind of in this corner part of our yard, our backyard, and you see, I know it's dirty back here. We got these piles of mulch, things like that. This is actually shaded by 2 very large mulberry trees, creating a really great microclimate. And so definitely using that microclimate to my advantage when planting tropicals, things like that. So actually over here, once again, sorry for the mess. But over here we have this space here, which you can see, kind of see the outline. This is actually going to be a pond. And so one of the great things about ponds when it comes to tropicals is it raises the humidity, it raises the temperature in the winter, and then in the summer it actually lowers that temperature, lowers that, lowers everything. So that would really help with some of these tropical plants that we can grow here. I do have several tropical plants already in the ground, and I'll show you that right now. We have my Cherry Mango, which is right here. It's being shaded by that board. Once again, we just moved in. But the Kerry Mango is doing really great. It has a lot of brand new leaves on it. It's really loving this spot. It gets morning sun and then afternoon shade, which is perfect for it. Now, I'm not perfect. I've been gardening for quite a while, but I'm not perfect when it comes to that. I just kind of got back into it, and so I have my failures as well. So all of these plants I had in our previous house. Some of them were in the ground, some of them weren't, and two of my failures have actually been this finger lime tree over here. I took it out of the ground. It didn't like it. It has died. I'm still thinking of planting it because sometimes things come back very miraculously. And then also I had a big beautiful papaya in my last house. Took it out, and unfortunately it did not survive the move, and it has collapsed over here, so it's not doing good either. Now I do have also back here one of my more tropical plants at this time. I actually have a soursop tree, so it's doing pretty well back here as well, and it's going to be this guy right here. He does need a little bit more sun, especially in the morning, so I'm going to do a little video on trimming a microclimate to best suit your needs, especially when it's a tree like this giant mulberry tree. And here's that giant mulberry tree. It's huge. It goes on forever, and you can kind of see the other one over there. So definitely a lot of trees, a lot of foliage, a lot of shade for that perfect microclimate there with that pond. Everything else definitely going to be a tropical location over here. And this part I am planning on making more into a food forest. It's kind of tucked away on the side of the yard, so we can do more of a food forest over here, maybe even a walking path around the pond, something like that. Now I do have a lot of plants here that I still need to plant. Some of them are from the move, some of them I bought recently. So in the backyard, I do have another spot of the backyard. This is one of the more landscape spots. So we have, here, a couple things about the pool. I did try to take some banana pups from the last yard, plant them in here. A total of 5 pups actually. Some of them are doing good. This guy has green still in the stem. He'll probably make it. Some of them are a little bit squishy, probably not going to make it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. At least bringing those pups, both blue javas and dwarf namwa bananas in there. Planted a couple Cuban royal palms as well. Just because, I wanted to keep tropical, want to stay with that tropical theme. This is one of those Cuban royal palms here, looking really good in that corner spot. Now, so if we look back this way, this is the more landscape portion of the yard. This is the one part of the yard that the previous owners did landscape. Some dwarf pygmy palms, a queen palm there, some lantanas as well. But if you look over here, we have some spots for potential fire pit, like a fire pit table. They used to have a big tree over there. They built these planters around it, and a nice little patio area. We've been trying out the fire pit here as well. Also a nice little cover here for the grill to be into. So the previous owners also put in this orange tree back here. Probably not in the best spot here. It's never fruited per what they said. Probably doesn't get enough sun over here. Citrus just like to have full sun here in Phoenix. They do actually really well in the full sun. And then we have this cat's claw over here. Cat's claw, yeah, it's beautiful. It really fills up this space. It is invasive though, very, very difficult to get rid of. So I'm in the process, and I'm going to clear all this cat's claw out, this whole area, really open this up, and then focus on planting, fruit trees, tropical trees in here as well. Adding once again that value, potentially even selling that fruit from the fruit trees here and the pond area over on the other side of the house at farmers markets, things like that, part of the CSA that we're going to do. And then if we look down here, now this is a smaller area, but it is actually wide enough where we can make a path more on this left side here, plant those fruit trees on the right. I do have a bunch of stumps, old trees to take out here, and of course this cat's claw, finish taking that out before I can plant anything, but definitely a really cool place over here, a really cool location where, you know, even if you have that smaller space, you can still grow, you know, trees, grow that food there. So definitely a good location here as well to kind of make it more of a tropical orchard. It does get some shade in the afternoon, and that is what the majority of those tropical trees are looking for, is that shade. And we also have kind of this rocky area here. As you can see, we just got irrigation not too long ago, and it already has a whole bunch of grass growing in those rocks. Probably going to get rid of those rocks, put down some mulch, and then put down some ground cover, some maybe some tropical trees in here, you know, mango, papaya, potentially even like some sapotes, things like that, once I get more of an established afternoon shade over in this location as well. So definitely a lot to do, a lot of projects here, but let's go check out the front yard, show you a little bit what's going on over there. This is the front yard of our house here. You know, we got a very large, open, you know, kind of front yard. Even over there is part of our yard here too. The problem here though is that there's really no shade, and so that's our real focus here. Probably not going to do a lot of fruit trees, things like that in the front yard. Focusing more on shade, on you know, maybe some flowering plants, things of that nature. We did plant a couple trees already. Planted some Royal Empress trees over here. So working on keeping those alive. You know, like I mentioned, it's been 110, 116 the last few days, so they are getting some afternoon shade. I know they can take the full sun, but they are kind of that younger Royal Empress there. So there's going to be one over here, and then there's also one on the other side of the yard there. You can see it where that stump is. So lots of work to do, lots of progress. I'm excited to take you along with me on my journey as we go and update this yard, make it, you know, like I mentioned before, beautiful, green, profitable, and of course livable. We want to make sure that we're able to live and enjoy that beauty while also, you know, being able to do everything else as well. So welcome to this first introduction of the green yard. I'm excited to spend some more time with you. Remember to stay green, keep planting, and of course, have fun.